Hi there, let's learn how to use dots. The first thing we're going to need is a note, so let's draw one. That's a crotchet, it lasts for one beat. Let's have another one. Two crotchets, so 1 add 1 equals 2. So now we have a minim which lasts for 2 beats. Now if I draw an arm on here, I've turned it into a half beat or a quaver, but the other half has to go somewhere, so we're going to stick it on here. Did you see what I did? We chopped half from this note, stuck it on here, so this one now lasts for 1.5 beats, this one lasts for half a beat, and 1.5 add a half still equals 2. So we still have the same amount inside here, we've just moved it around and it still adds up to 2 beats. Okay, so now let's have minims. So 2 add 2 equals 4 beats. Okay, now if I colour this one in, I colour in my minim, I've turned it back into a crotchet. So I've chopped it in half once again. So I'm going to stick the other half onto there. So now this lasts for 3 beats. This lasts for 1. Still adds up to 4 beats. Okay? I think you're getting the hang of this. Right, let's do it with fractions now. So if we have half a beat here, let's have another one over here. So you know that half add a half equals 1. Easy enough? Good. And what happened up here when we put the arm on here was we chopped it in half. If we had another arm on here, so now instead of being a quaver, it's a semi-quaver. So it's half of the half, it's a semi-quaver. This is now a quarter of a beat. That other quarter has to go somewhere. We're going to stick it on here. So now, this was a half, now we've added a quarter to it. If you're good at fractions, you'll know that that means this is 3/4 of a beat. So 3/4 add 1/4 equals 1 whole beat. Okay, so this might look more familiar if we draw it in a slightly different way. You'll be used to seeing quavers that look more like this. When there's two quavers together, usually the arms don't hang by their sides, they hold hands. So if we have a half plus a half still equals 1 because it means the same thing. When we draw the arm this time, the extra one, it looks like this. So it's exactly the same though. There's your quarter of a beat. So the dot still has to go on the other side. So this is still 3/4. So 3/4 plus a quarter still equals 1. All right, I think you're getting the hang of this. There's one more I'll show you. This is where it gets a bit silly. So we met this earlier, our semi-breve, which lasts for 4 beats. Let's have another semi-breve. Now, have you ever wondered why it's called a semi-breve and not a breve? A semi-breve is half of a breve, and a breve looks like this. You won't see them very often, but there's one there. So a semi-breve, 4 beats, another semi-breve, 4 beats. 4 add 4 equals 8. But we're not going to leave it like that. As you might expect, we're going to chop it in half. So now we have a minim, which lasts for 2 beats. And half of that, half of our other half, the other 2 beats has to go somewhere. Let's stick it on there. So now we have 6. 6 add 2 equals 8. I think you're starting to get the hang of this. So let's have a look at that when we meet it inside a tune. Alright, so the first one that you might want to look at using these dots is Bonnie Tammy Scala, which is down here. Now if we look at Bonnie Tammy Scala, that very first bar, there's our dotted crotchet that we met earlier. So instead of going like we do in this bar, ta, 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 we're going to go ta, a, ti, ta, ta. And look, here it is again. Ta, a, ti, ta, ta. And again. Ta, a, ti, ta, ta. And again in the last line. And here again. So it's exactly the same rhythm each time you meet that. No, not here. You can see those are tas. But ta, a, ti, ta, ta. So you'll be able to manage that. Fine. Let's look over at Chanil Milan and Aunenshaw. If you look at the first line, all crotchets, all just one beat at a time. Easy, easy peasy. But when we look down in the second half of the tune, you can see we've got this dotted rhythm. Ta, a, ti, ta, a, ti, ta, 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 a, ti, ta, a, ti, ta, 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 and so on. If you know the song, if you've done it in class, especially if you're in the Gaelic class, you'll know this song from singing it with your teacher. So just sing the song, and that will help you. Get the rhythm right, and it'll help you see how the dots work along with the song. If you don't know the song, or you're not used to doing Gaelic songs, this is the rhythm we sometimes use to help us get it right. We'll go, can I have a chocolate biscuit? Can I have a chocolate biscuit? Can I have a chocolate biscuit? No, the tin is empty. Very silly indeed, but I found it to be quite effective. It does help. The issue we have when we have dotted notes, especially when you play the violin, is it means that you have a note that's long and then followed by one that's short, and usually they're on separate bows, and you end up with a problem where your bow goes down the way and then back up a little bit, and then down the way and back up a little bit until you're stuck at the point. So what we need to do is on the down bow, we're going to move our bow really slowly, and on the up bow, when we've got a shorter note, we move it quicker. So it should all add up to the same, or we should end up back where we started. So if you were starting at the heel of your bow and you went slowly down for the long note and then quickly up for the short note, you should end up back where you started so that you don't get stuck at the heel. Okay, so go and give these tunes a go. You'll find that I've made videos of both of these, so you'll be able to play along. Have a think about what your bow is doing. Have a think about how the dots work. Hopefully that should all make sense to you now, and feel free to send me any questions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.